Listen, friend, I'm putting in my 2-week notice. I literally quit. I quit. Like, for the last going on 3 years, I've been trying to hustle and crank out this multi-layer, multi-dimensional vision for my brand in a 365-day span. And it's been exhausting. Year after year, literally, I was just reflecting over this the other day. Like, year after year, 2021, 2022, here we are, 2023. Year after year, I've been trying to put a multi-layer brand into a 365-day span. And it's exhausting. It's been exhausting. And if you are a visionary, if you are a creative, if you are an entrepreneur who finds yourself being multifaceted, multidimensional, multidisciplinary, multifaceted, any of those things, then I know you can relate. And child, I need a change. I've contemplated so many times getting a new job, going to corporate, getting one job, and focusing on literally one thing. Because again, reflecting over 2023, and just honestly, since I've started my business, I've been the CEO, I've been the product developer, I've been the marketing manager, the operations manager, the one running interns, the one running events, building products, creating the content, all of the things, right? I've been the brand consultant, the speaker, the coach, all of the things and more, like author, writing books, like creating workshops, creating courses, creating curriculum, like some of these things coming legit from scratch, like coming from straight from the dome, like y'all. And it's legit been exhausting. It seems like I'm doing 100 times the work. And honestly, I'm tired of keeping up with the hamster wheel of production. Like literally, we create, we brainstorm, we create, and then we launch. And it just keeps going. Like that same cycle just keeps going, with the goal of course, having a profitable business, right? With the goal of hitting 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. But the reality is, all of this, what has been literally stunting my creativity and just burning me out. And I don't know if you can relate, but if you can relate, just go ahead, comment, even right now. I'm tired too, friend. I'm tired too, friend. Now, I am really trying to be on my Zoom and make sure that these are planned out so that I'm not just rambling, because y'all, I'm a rambler. So to get us started in this conversation of me quitting and why I'm quitting, okay? Now, if you are new here, I'm Demaya Unique, and I am your multi-passionate visionary friend, okay? So if you've been, roaming through the, social media cities, looking for a friend that you can relate to, I'm your girl, okay? Here on this community and in this, platform, I really want to build a community where we are striving to do all of life with God. We are striving to invest in ourselves, and we are striving to build out our visions, right? So I'm gonna be real. If you are multi-passionate, most likely your struggle is the same as my struggle. And that struggle is doing the absolute most on an ongoing basis. I mean, living fast-paced, having your hands in multiple things, and doing the absolute most, right? It's giving greatness is inside of you. I don't know if you've ever heard the song, Mary, Did You Know? by Maverick City, but at the end it be greatness is inside of you. That's what it's giving. It's giving greatness is inside of you. And what I have learned is that your capacity is great. Your level of your level of production and output is great. Your ability and capacity and capability to ideate and bring things from scratch and from nothing, from imagination into existence is great, right? So that's not the problem. Here's the problem. The problem is the pacing. The problem is how fast you are going, right? And so that's what I'm coming to realize. Like, it's not, my capacity is not the problem. My problem is my pace. And here's the definition of pace. Pace is the speed, right? Pace is the speed at which you produce. So again, pace is the speed at which you produce. Now, I'm not really quitting. Like, friend, if you've been hanging around me for a little minute, whether on this platform or in the visionary community or on wherever else you may be with me, you should know by now I ain't quitting, okay? There are some things that I am quitting. But this brand and this vision that God has given to me, I just can't quit. I just can't give up because it's a part of my purpose. However, the speed I've been running at, it's time to give that up, okay? So giving up is definitely not an option, but giving up some things are. Number 1, rushing. Number 2, survival mode. And number 3, the hamster wheel of production. Let's get into it. All right, friend, let's talk about rushing. Okay, so as I've said in the beginning of this video, for the last 3 years, I've been trying to do extremely too much within a 365-day span. Have we been impactful? Yes. But am I burnt out? Yes. Have I thought about quitting and going to get a corporate job? Absolutely. However, what I'm realizing is the vision was never the problem. The problem, y'all see this light? The problem was the pace. It was how fast I was trying to implement the vision that I had. And I don't know who this is for, but I know that I'm not the only visionary or creative like this, where you got this big multi-layer, again, multi-dimensional vision, and there's like this internal pressure to execute and communicate it with others. And maybe because it's a part of you that feels the need to have to prove something, mixed with the excitement of just wanting to release what God has given you the ability to envision, if that makes sense. And again, if this is you, if you feel like you could definitely relate, again, I want to have a conversation. Let me know in the comment section if this is something that you have also struggled with, because I know for me, like, idea generating is literally so easy. Like, it's so easy for me to come up with a concept, come up with an idea. Like, God has literally gifted me with that ability to also solve problems. I've literally been like that since I was literally a child. Like, being able to, being able to literally create something from nothing, but also solve problems with what I create. And so again, like I said, I know for me, idea generation has always been easy, and I also love the implementation process. Like, I have learned to be organized. I have learned to implement different systems to help me execute. So the execution part is not my problem. My problem, my struggle has always been pacing and being realistic with my timing, right? Like how much time it will take to create, how much time it will take, for me to recover, for me to launch a certain thing. And so I'm learning that not only do you need time to create, but you also need time to recover. You know what I'm saying? As a creative, I and said this in even a previous video when I think I was talking about the summit, when I launched my very first conference. I talked about this, like, yes, you need time and systems to implement and to execute, and you need to be realistic with how much time you need to actually execute a certain thing, but you also need time to rest, because the position of rest is literally underrated. And so again, that's what I'm learning, and that's honestly what my struggle is, even at this very moment. And so going into 2024, I personally can't afford to rush anymore. Like, I can't afford to, because it's literally costing me my creativity, it's costing me my passions, and it's honestly like not worth it in the long run. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if I'm rushing and trying to get all of these things out, I can't even enjoy the fruit of my labor. I can't fully, enjoy what I just did. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always on to the next and on to the next and on to the next. Like, I'm never soaking in this very moment, and even, the very creation that came through me, like through all of the hard work, through all of the labor, like not even giving these things enough time to have a spotlight, you know what I'm saying, before I'm on to the next thing. Because even for like Thomas Edison, I know this is real random right now, but if you think about like Thomas Edison, bro, like with the light bulb, that was something that nobody else thought about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even like with airplanes, all the things, like a creative person legit thought about, hey, this is something that could be a solution to someone else's problem that they're having. And it changed the game. It changed the world. But it's like, we be literally doing stuff like that as creatives, as visionaries. We see something and we create something, but it's like we don't let that something thrive, And that's where I am. Like, I can't afford to just rush and keep going to the next thing and to the next thing and to the next thing. Absolutely. But I could literally talk about that like for a little minute. Like, that's given hot topic, because I feel like with the generation and the time that we are living in, like everybody's in this rush, and that internal pressure pressure can happen internally but also externally, you know what I'm saying? So it feels like this pressure to keep up, this pressure to produce quickly, this pressure to scale quickly, this pressure to grow quickly, and all the other things. But I also feel like this goes into my next thing that I'm putting, which is survival mode, because I also will say, looking out into my generation and just also the state of this world, I feel like we can get caught in this hamster wheel and this cycle of survival mode and survival mentality, where, again, looking out into this world, y'all see them grocery prices, honey. We spending like $12 on some bread, okay? And so I definitely understand how it can be easy to fall into the trap of survival mode. And I know for me, when it comes to survival mode, this has definitely been something, y'all, the light, hopefully I can keep seeing me, but anyway, this has definitely been a struggle that I've had since I was honestly younger, and I think a mindset that I took on, that was attached to like my upbringing and watching, most of the women in my life be independent, strong Black women, you know what I'm saying, and handling their business. However, this is something that I know the Lord is helping me to consistently overcome. And I know that it's something that I have to like literally, like, that's my fight, that's my thorn in my flesh, if you will, and just God, and it takes basically God having to continuously remind me that I don't have to fight for anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to, me, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, he's my father, and he's one thing about it, he's going to provide for me, and I know that it's going to be by his hand and not my hard work. And I think that is where that is the moment. And that's crazy, because that was just a revelation that I just got, because the Lord has really been ministering to me and just letting me to know that, you know, what he's going to do in my life will not be through my hard work, but by his hand. And I think that's very powerful, especially for those who, just like me, feel like, hey, I have a very good work ethic, right? Like, I know how to work hard. I know how to go get, like, I'm talking to the go-getters out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, where, you know, maybe you have had your share of being lazy and being a procrastinator, but you also have this mechanism built inside of you that you're going to go get it. You're going to, you know, make things work out, even if it don't seem like there's a way, honey. You going to be the way maker, okay? And I think that is where we get in God's way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real. Like, even for me, I feel like that is where, you know, I can get in the way of God, because at the end of the day, like, that's a word even for me at this very moment. It's not going to be by my hard work, even though, again, faith without works is dead. So God is going to use your ability to work hard and your ability to, like, your work ethic, your ability to steward well. God is going to use those things. However, you are going to need to use your faith in God and in his sovereignty and you know, his direction, to, you know, be able to obtain all the things that God has set forth for you to obtain. And so that is just honestly a reminder to me, to know, you know, at the end of the day, like, I don't have to work super hard to, you know, make ends meet, because that's not what God has called forth for me. And so I have to continue to renew my mind, and I also want to challenge you to also continue to renew your mind that you are enough. You know what I mean? You are enough. You are doing more than enough. I know for me, I am literally 23, and I had to literally remind myself even of this today, like, just stop and reflect of where you are right now, and just be proud of yourself for all of the things that God has allowed you to accomplish, because it's been a lot of great things. And so at the end of the day, like, wherever you may be, whatever season you may find yourself in, just know that you are doing enough. If you are doing all that you know to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes that's how I know that I struggle with this area, because sometimes it can feel like I'm doing all that I know to do, and I'm not necessarily seeing the results that I hope to see. And then I have to sit back and remind myself, like, if there's nothing else that I can do, I'm doing all that I know to do. I'm investing in my education. You know what I mean? Like, I'm making sure that I'm applying what I'm learning. If I'm doing all that I know to do, then why am I trying to also beat myself up when, again, I'm doing all that I know to do? So that means faith. Why would you need faith if you could do everything? Why would you need faith if, you know what I mean, it was all going to work out by your hand? No. Faith plus work says that, hey, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to steward well over what God has given unto me, over the ideas that God has given to me. I'm going to steward well over those things. And then on top of that, I'm going to believe God to do the rest. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to believe God to do what I can't do. I'm going to believe God to do the impossible. Because one thing about it, two things for sure, I'm not about to be staying up all to the crack of dawn, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, trying to work overtime for what? Again, survival mode. Survival mentality. And so I saw this quote that I really wanted to share with you, and it said, you can't create in survival mode. And it literally spoke to me for this specific season of my life and business, because I think we as creatives have to embrace the fact that we are built different. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, being an entrepreneur and being a visionary and being creative, like, all together, you're built different. Like, your business and your blueprint is not going to look like someone else's blueprint. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody that just specializes in that one thing, right? Or they're just creating this product because maybe they, you know, it's just their side hustle or whatever the case may be, but this is not something that is necessarily connected to them. It's not a passion of theirs. But I feel like as creatives, our creativity is a part of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not something that is literally separate and we can just, cast off and shut down. Like, for us as creatives, we leave our projects and ventures and work, we leave that and then still are thinking about that even when we go home. You know what I'm saying? Like, we dreaming about it. We it just comes to our mind when we out, doing a hobby or, at a workout class. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's different. And I think this is the season where we as creatives should begin to embrace the fact that we're built different. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's strategy don't apply to you. Everybody's blueprint doesn't apply to you. Everybody's, even what people want out of life, and that's what I'm realizing too. Like, everybody's life is not the same. So you have to sit back and ask yourself, between you and God, what do we want out of this life? Because at the end of the day, I'm not here to live anybody else's. And that's on period. This leads me into the next thing that I'm quitting, which is the hamster wheel of production. So being a creative, it's important for you to realize, like, your creativity is connected to you as a creative. So that means what you have on the inside of you and the way that you think, the way that you function, the way that you are is valuable and not expendable. I want you to write that down, because that was a word. When I was, getting my notes together, I was like, that spoke to me, okay? But it means that to produce something and move forward without giving that thing a spotlight is treating your creation as expendable or with little significance. So whatever you may be creating, whether that's content, whether that's workshops, whether that's curriculum, whether that's courses, whatever the case may be that you are creating and releasing out into this world is not expendable, and it should not be treated as if it's expendable. It is right? Because when I'm all gone and my unique is no longer here, my creation and what I had to offer the world can still be here, right? But I have to make sure that I'm not in a rush with trying to just produce and get these things out there, that it can't make the impact that it needs to make. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm always focused on the next. And so, again, I'm learning that implementation doesn't always happen overnight. Implementation doesn't always happen overnight. Because I am big on not just learning a piece of information and letting it sit there, right? Like, because what was the point? Change only happens when you implement, right? And so I know, just knowing who I am, knowing myself, I'm huge on implementation. Whether you're talking about the Bible or you talking about, just nuggets of wisdom about business or whatever the case may be. If you learn something, you need to implement that very something, or you're not going to see change. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to see change in your business. And so it's very important that you learn to implement. But here's also the thing that I'm learning when it comes to implementation. Implementation also does not happen overnight. So what that means is you can be implementing something. You could be implementing a piece of wisdom, but at a certain level of pace and speed. Just because it's not right away doesn't mean that you are slothful or you are lazy or any of those things. And so God began to speak to me, and I want to share this word with you because it may just hit for you. But he literally reminded me and said, slow and steady wins the race. Friend, this sun is sunning. Like, I wish y'all can see it right now, but I literally have a ball cap hovering over my camera because the sun is taking my camera out. Like, it has literally overheated twice. But anyway, like I was saying, slow and steady wins the race. So instead of looking at the multi-layer, multi-dimensional vision that you have for your business, for your brand, for your platform, for, your creation, whatever it is that you had an idea for and that you are creating, you are bringing into this world as a solution to be a bridge for someone, look at it, instead of looking at it as one playing field, one big, large playing field, look at it as stepping stones, right? Treat it as levels that you are going to build on top of each other. And I think that will help to alleviate the need to do all of these things and to execute all of these things in a matter of a short period of time, right? It will eliminate that need to feel rushed, because one step leads to the next step, which leads to the next step. And so this takes me into our next steps. Like, where do we go from here? Like, because that's literally where I am now. Like, it is legit December 12th. Y'all probably gonna see this video a little later, but it is December 12th and we are preparing for a new year, right? We are preparing for 2024. So we're talking about, instead of looking at it as one big gigantic vision that we're in the rush to communicate all at once, more so looking at it from a longer standpoint and playing the long game. What is our next steps as we move into 2024? I've talked about all of the things that we're quitting. I don't know if this is just for me or if this is something that you can relate to. Definitely let me know in the comments if this is you. Like, let me know. Like, are you quitting the same things? Do you have a desire to quit the same things? Honestly, when I think about it, thinking about what's next and all that I'm having to quit is definitely scary. Like, it scares me because it's literally new. Like, it's new for me to slow down. It's unusual for me to slow down. It's unusual for me to go at a slower pace, because I guess for so long I felt like I've had to sprint when I really been having to jog. You know what I'm saying? And to know that I can get a lot more done and make a lot more impact if I just slow down. And so again, for me, it's honestly scary because I'm used to doing the absolute most. And I know that I'm not alone. Like, I know that there are more people out there just like me who are used to doing the absolute most. And I think a part of us may feel like, if I slow down, if I go at a slower pace, then that means that I'm not multi-passionate or I'm not multifaceted. And you know what I mean? I think we begin to think that focusing on one thing or slowing down begin to take things away from us that we thought we were, like, but I don't think that's the case at all. I think slowing down and slowing down the pace and focusing on one thing actually allows you to do what you love to do and love to be, which is multi-passionate. You know what I'm saying? I think it allows you to have multiple passions when you take the time to slow down and implement one thing at a time. And so again, for me, it is a little scary because I am used to doing the most. I'm used to moving and operating at a faster pace. However, moving forward, what I'm thinking and what I plan on implementing and testing out for Q1 of 2024 is 4 things. I have 4 things written here, and then we are going to close out. Number 1, building out a 5 to 10 year plan. This is what I feel like will help me to see, like, hey, Demaya, for the first 2 years, or the first year, this is what you're going to be focusing on. But then the next 2 years, you're going to be focusing on this. And the next 2 years, you're going to be focusing on that. So giving myself more time, but being able to see you know, the totality of my vision, the totality of, you know, the ideas that I have come to fruition, but in a longer period of time, if that makes sense. So instead, again, of seeing the bigger picture as one journey, I'm seeing them as stepping stones. For example, year 1 and 2, the focus would be content creation. That's just an example. Content creation or speaking engagements and X, Y, and Z. And then year 2 would be more so community, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So like doing those things and building out more so a longer term game plan so that it will give me time to spread out projects. Number 2 is focusing on one area and one area only of the multi-layer vision. And when I say one area, Demaya, unique, I'm talking to me first. That's exactly what I mean. One area, okay? One thing. The third thing that I have is longer and realistic production times, even if this means that I go off the grid for a little while. And so I think giving myself more time to produce, more time to write, more time to develop things will just make it even better once it's time to execute and once it's time to launch. Like the impact would be greater because I've taken the time to fully flesh out things, fully plan things in depth and in detail. And, you know, so I don't feel flustered, I don't feel overwhelmed when it's time to launch things, but it's all set to go. And because I don't want to be again in that cycle of brainstorm, create, launch, brainstorm, like that's exhausting. Like I want things to be, you know, set in stone, good, fully prepared, and then we go forth. And so that goes into number 4, which is being proactive and not launching back to back. And so again, those are the 4 things that I am planning on implementing as we are going into this new quarter. But that's it, y'all. Like, I'm quitting, but I'm not quitting my brand, but I'm quitting the things that I've been doing for these last 3 years. And yeah, so I'm gonna definitely be taking y'all along my journey as I continue to learn all the things about entrepreneurship, about creativity, about being a visionary, and I'm super excited to bring y'all with me. If you did not know, I am in the car, which clearly I'm in the car, and we are on our way to St. Louis, which I'm super excited about. The vlog will be coming soon, obviously, but we are taking a creative retreat kind of thing, co-working, goal setting, all the things with our creative and visionary friends. So I'm super excited to be bringing y'all along with us to just honestly show what it's like to collaborate and to, you know, co-work and basically set goals for a new year. So make sure y'all watch that video after this one, of course. And yeah, I'll be definitely touching bases with y'all. Until next time, love you guys. Bye.